Hello everyone. This is Sunday morning, and I heard that yesterday was Happiness Day, World Happiness Day. I'm so glad they have this one day as a Happiness Day, but I know it's like everybody knows that every day should be a Happiness Day. But marketers need something to market, and then they can sell more things. So I'm happy about it. I'm a marketer, so I like these kinds of days, like Women's Day, Men's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. These are all good marketing hacks. So as long as we know that, we can all enjoy it, and we know that every day has to be a Mother's Day, every day has to be a Happiness Day. But it's good for marketing, so we'll leave it there. So the topic of happiness has been discussed endlessly, from very simple theories to extremely complex theories to uh, things research-based stuff. To you can go endlessly on this. So my goal in the next few minutes is to keep it very, very simple and as effective as possible to get the goal. If you want to be happy at a moment's notice and all the time, I mean, most of the time, because there are some things sometimes you need to feel the other emotions, but I would say most of the time, if you want to be happy, I have some hacks here. It starts with what I would say a $1,000,000 question. What is the $1,000,000 question? It's actually a trick question. Please do not try to answer it. I'm saying do not try to answer it. You will see why. The question is very simple. What makes you happy? Let me repeat it. What makes you happy? And why am I saying please do not try to answer? Because the moment you try to answer it, you fall into the trap. What is the trap? Because even if you say 3 pages of what makes you happy, you are just signaling your own mind and brain that these are the things that make me happy. That means everything outside of it, whether I should be happy or not, there is a question mark there, because otherwise, if it would definitely make you happy, you would have included in the list, right? So if you have a question mark, that's why you didn't include it. So best is to not try to answer it. And if you really, really want to answer it, I have a suggestion. The suggestion is, why should anything make me happy? The default of my being is to be happy. By default, I'm happy. And in fact, somebody else has to try to make me unhappy. But until that happens, I'm happy. In general, I'm happy. The default is happy, like that. How do we do it? So it starts with what I call thresholds. So thresholds are there everywhere. I mean, there are two meanings for the thresholds. One is that wooden block that separates the door from one inside to the outside. That's called a threshold. There's another definition that anything that we have to cross to get to the other place. So I'm not talking about the physical threshold, but the threshold that we have to reach, right? So basically, if you want to, an example, so somebody needs to, you are attending a class, and then the teacher says, do you have any questions? And then you are in a new set of classmates, and you are thinking, should I ask? And what will they see? What will others think if I ask a question? There's a threshold after which you say, you know what? I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to ask the question, right? So that's like a threshold, crossing the threshold. You have to. There is some effort involved in going from one state to another state. So I'm an engineer, so I always have some graphs and charts. And so basically, we have to see some couple of graphs to make it easy. And I recently learned in StreamYard, you can show a screen, share a screen. So I just got that from a video on YouTube. So I'm going to try it. So if I fail, please bear with me. I'll just figure it out. So, okay, great. So I can make it happen. So good. So basically, these are a couple of things about unhappiness. So let's see. I'm trying. Okay, got it. Okay. So in general, what we see is there is a thresholds that we have set, which are basically about what is the threshold for us to be happy is really, really, really high, right? So basically, if somebody has to make just almost do a bubble bath or just an amazing treat, a shopping spree or anything. It takes effort for somebody else to make us happy if the threshold is very, very high. But the threshold for being disappointed is extremely low. That means you go to a restaurant and then you order coffee or tea, and then they come back with something cold. You really wanted it super hot. They come back with cold. In fact, you tell them make it extra hot, and then they can come back with without following your instruction, and you get like really upset, right? So basically, this is not. This is not something that externally set, but you can reset those thresholds because you set them, right? Imagine the thresholds were reversed. So for you to be happy, for you to be disappointed, somebody has to work really hard. It's almost like it should take them to climb Mount Everest or do 100 reverse somersaults. Only then you will be disappointed. How do you do that? It's you. You don't have to do anything. You just have to change the threshold. That for somebody to make me unhappy, they have to really work hard, and then nobody has the patience to do that much work, right? So they just give up, right? But for somebody to make you happy, or any event to make you happy, for anything to make you happy, the threshold is extremely low, right? So when that happens, the life will be super joyful. And this, I can expand this threshold theory to many things, but I'm choosing to stay on topic, and let's just stay on topic on happiness. If you think about it, let's extend it further, right? I just go here. And if you see, there are two states in us, right? So basically, the external state, and there is an internal state. And the external state, as you can imagine, is based on there is a desired state and there is an undesired state. And if the external state and the internal state are in undesired state, there's something. You think about external world, right? So there is COVID happening. We don't know. There is so much uncertainty whether we go back to the office, whether things will be okay. Is it safe to travel? So many undesired things. But internal also, if that bothers you a lot, that external things are already bad. Internally, you are thinking really depressing thoughts. Then you are in a hopeless situation in that quadrant, as you can see. But whatever be the external state, but you don't care about it, you are in a desired internal state, then you are like a victim. Like, what happened to, what is this? Why is this happening to me? Like that. So you are almost like it should not have happened, but you are part of it. You didn't do anything wrong, but you are being asked to penalize. You are being penalized for this. But if you look at the other thing, that internally, when in undesired state, and externally things are okay. So which means people will say, "You got to do something, man. Why are you sitting here idle?" Then that's called the complacent state. Right? But if both external and internal states are desired states, then you should be happy. And nobody will question your happiness. See? Because everything is good outside, everything is good inside. Now, this is the thing. What do you think? What I think is that it's total bullshit. Right? I just made up like rules that are not even required to be made up. Right? I just created an external state, there is an internal state, and then because it was look logical, right? It will feel like, oh my God, this must be real. This is total bullshit, right? There is no need to have all these things. There is no need to even think about these things if you set your default state to be happy, right? So that's the key thing to remember, that these people make up these rules for no reason. There need not be any rules to be happy. It's too big of a problem to follow so many rules, right? And then when I'm teaching this to some young people, they say, but there are places that you really get upset because something happens and somebody will say something. And I always ask them to do what I call as an instant time travel experiment. Think about, go back 10 years, time travel back, go back 10 years and just think about something unpleasant that happened. Even you probably were in your college or somebody did something, took advantage of you. And at that time, it looked like a really big thing. Now, look at that thing from now, wherever you are. Do you think it's still a very big thing? Probably not. Then why did you make it such a big thing at that time? Right? So if that is the case, you can also do time travel. If it's the future, something bad happens now, you just do a time travel 10 years from now and look at today from that future point of time. Again, it's not a big thing at that time. Then why make it a big thing now? That's something to remember. And next is to always remember that the headspace, the space between your ears, is your prime real estate. So if you're happy because somebody else said something, you know that you are making them come back and be a guest. You are not happy with that person, but you're treating him as a VIP in your headspace at no cost. In fact, paying him for it. So him or her, right? So you can think like, who do you want as guests? People that you love or people that are getting you upset? There is no reason for you to be treating people you don't like as VIPs in your headspace. Just does not make sense. And I should also tell you that joy at will is not optional. If you want to, at this moment, at this exact moment, you can be joyful at will. But you choose to not to be, but it's your choice. You always remember that it's your choice and you're making it, and don't blame somebody else, right? And the last thing I want to tell, last couple of things I want to say is there is a blind spot that many people have, which is to treat feedback as judgment. So whenever you try something, you fail, or whenever somebody says something, you're always thinking they're judging me. First of all, nobody except for a few people, nobody thinks you're so important that you need to be judged, and they spend time to judge you because they have their own busy things, right? So basically they're busy with their own stuff, and they don't, you're not that important, then they will take time to assess you, judge you, and all those things. That's something to remember. Second, when they give feedback, if you start being very defensive and think you're judged and you start explaining things, the person he's actually giving the feedback, they will run away thinking that I don't want to give him feedback or her feedback because it will become a dramatic experience. So in fact, whatever things that you are going to get from the external world, it will stop, and then you will lose more than you will gain, right? So, and the last thing I want to say is, people say some things. So, have a nice day, and good morning, good evening. I learned from Mahatria and the team there that every time I talk to them, they say, "Happy morning, happy evening," and I changed my own greetings because there is power in words. Your words create your words. If being happy is of importance to you, then use the word happy more. There are few, at first, people will look at you little bit odd because it's a different way of greeting. So when you pick up the phone, you say, Happy morning. And people will say, that's not what I wanted to hear. But the word has a magic in it. And then very soon they will start using it. And more you use the word, the more that thing is there in your world. So have a happy day. Bye.